thank you very much once again for this very kind invitation. I would have loved to be there with you in person, but unfortunately, I really can't. I'm really sorry. I'm going to miss the discussions in person. But thank you very much for the honor of giving this talk. So today I wanted to tell you about the World Quantum Day, a global outreach quantum initiative. So I think an interesting and quite unique experience in public engagement in this field. So let me also take this opportunity to wish you a happy International Year of Quantum and a happy World Quantum Day. The World Quantum Day is normally celebrated on April 14th or around that date. You'll see that we are not very strict about the date, and especially in this year of 2025, every day is a Quantum Day because it's the International Year of Quantum. So happy World Quantum Day and International Year of Quantum. You may have noticed that there was a Google Doodle in a bunch of countries around the world on April 14th to celebrate the World Quantum Day. You can find more information on that link. So the World Quantum Day is a completely bottom-up initiative from active quantum scientists from initially more than 65 countries around the world. We came together, and on 14th of April 2021, we had an event online to announce that 1 year later, on April 14th, 2022, we would launch the World Quantum Day. So we did the pre-launch 1 year in advance. Professor Alain Aspect kindly gave an online talk on this occasion for this pre-announcement, and we had people from all continents, more than 5,000 people attending for this pre-launch. And in fact, we thought this would be the only event. That it turns out that already there were events because of this announcement, or the announcement of the announcement. And so there were actually events in different continents on this day. But then the official start was 1 year later, as planned, on April 14th, 2022. And there were more than 200 events in all continents, covering more than 40 countries, almost 200 cities in many different languages. So it immediately picked up. We just gave the idea, the challenge, and people reacted. And so we were very happy and overwhelmed with this response. And so what is the World Quantum Day? It's a decentralized and bottom-up initiative, essentially inviting creators. They can be quantum scientists, engineers, educators, science communicators, like many of you in the audience today, entrepreneurs, technologists, artists, etc. And they're invited to organize some event around April 14th to communicate, to disseminate quantum science in the most broad way. And so as examples can be outreach talks, lab tours, debates, interviews. We've seen also some competitions for artistic creations, a theater play inspired by quantum, etc. So it's really a good excuse to do something and to motivate people to act and create events and engage with the public. You can find more information on the website. The things picked up really nicely. So the following year, the number of events duplicated. For example, in China, there was one single event online that had more than 1 million people attending, and so on. So things got traction continuously, progressively over the last few years. And just to give you some examples of what these activities are. So, for example, you have here a research center, in this case in Munich, or actually a set of many research centers, who decided to post a picture and wish Happy World Quantum Day online in a social network. You see some quite impressive activities like these ones in Italy, where they actually celebrate the World Quantum Day for 2 months, since the mid of March to the mid of May, with April 14th, of course, being in the middle. And every year they have a different topic, and they organize the event at national scale in the whole country of Italy, with different exhibitions, talks, competitions for art creation, etc. And so this really picked up very nicely, and is, I think, one of the greatest examples of public engagement at such a large scale and so diverse in contents. Also wanted to give an example of something that we do here at the Portuguese Quantum Institute and the University of Lisbon. We've created a network of schools we call the Network of Quantum Schools. And every year we do an event, a hybrid event, in person in Lisbon, Portugal, and also online to our network of schools. And this year we beat the record. We had more than 2,000 students online in this online event where we not only, teach or talk about quantum science in a non-technical way for these high school students and teachers. In fact, we do more than that. We do a video competition where the high school students have to produce a 2 to 3 minutes video explaining quantum mechanics, and then we give out the prize in this event. So, as I said, we had more than 2,000 students, more than 50 schools, more than 55 school teachers in all Portuguese-speaking countries around the world, in Europe, South America, Africa, and in East Timor in Asia. So all Portuguese-speaking countries for the first time were online, including in Asia that was very late, but they still wanted to be online. And they have to be at the school. They cannot be at home. And so this is another example of activities that are developed in this context. But, there's many more. I will go a bit fast now. For example, Physics World had a special web page dedicated to quantum science. They had a prize for quantum researchers whose winners were announced on the World Quantum Day. This is an initiative from the innovation to promote startups in the UK who released one of the studies they did. They chose the World Quantum Day to release their study. For example, Optica launched a new journal dedicated to quantum science, and they decided to announced the launch of this journal on the April 14th, the World Quantum Day, and then companies celebrated around the world. Even the White House celebrated the World Quantum Day. You can see here an example from the previous administration. The National Science Foundation and other funding agencies around the world celebrated the World Quantum Day. The European Commission celebrated the World Quantum Day with this really cool cartoon of Schrödinger and his cats. Famous artists were engaged, in this case, famous Hollywood actors were engaged to contribute to this dissemination effort. In this case, Paul Rudd for the engagement by NASA, another Hollywood actress who went to visit some labs at Caltech in California. And this, to me, is one of the most surprising developments. There's this TV quiz show in the USA, Jeopardy, and it's the longest running, continuously running TV quiz show on, general knowledge. It's continuously running since 1964, and every episode they have questions about different topics of general knowledge. And over this extensive and unique history, they had never had anything related to quantum science. And together with our colleague Spiros Michalakis at Caltech in the USA, representative of the World Quantum Day there, and for the World Quantum Day, they had an episode where for the first time they included a category on quantum science. And so this was, I think, a really cool and unique way to engage with the public. And even the American Congress approved and is approving every year a bipartisan resolution supporting the World Quantum Day and its goals. So this one we did nothing. They just contacted us asking, can we do this? And we said, sure, great, thank you, please do it. And you can find many of these things if you go on the different social media or use the hashtag World Quantum Day. You can find all the posts and dissemination that happened over the last few years. So how does this work? So anyone in the world can submit their event. They go to the website, they press the button, they fill in the form, and the event is considered for dissemination. However, we do a quality check to make sure that all the events have good quality and are serious, and we want to make sure we don't publish anything that is not high quality. We don't endorse that. So if your event passes this quality check, then it's published in our website, is listed in our social media, in the map, etc. But this is assessed by our network, and our network is a network of quantum experts, of active quantum scientists by now more than 70 countries. And of course, we want to welcome more country representatives, but we want to find the right people. And if you have suggestions, feel free to contact us. And their role is to validate these submissions, right? So because they know better the reality or even the language or the alphabet in which these submissions are sent. And so their role is just to do a quick quality check. And this is how we managed to ensure this quality at global scale. And in fact, the International League of Quantum with whom we collaborate very closely. I'm also involved, like Hong Jun, in the corresponding steering committee, and our network can contribute to that validation also for the events of the International League of Quantum. By the way, our websites are cross-linked, and submissions in one website then appear in the other website. I told you about the key aspects of World Quantum Day. Let me tell you about some special projects we have for 2025, the International Year of Quantum. So the first is called Quantum Cities. It's very simple. I told you anyone can submit an event to our website, and then it's validated. If you submit an event and it's approved and it happens in a city, then your city automatically becomes a quantum city. So we already have almost 300 quantum cities around the world, more than 400 events in all these cities. I noticed that Seoul is not there, so you can submit this event as an event to become a quantum city, and then you can go to the website. You can type the name of your city. So here I typed it both in the English translation and in the original script. I hope I got it right. And then you can generate this logo, which you can use for your dissemination materials. Then we have the second activity this year, which is also a novelty, which is the Quantum City Prize, which goes a bit beyond the quantum cities. The quantum cities, you understood, you organize an event. The event is approved, that's it. That city becomes a quantum city. The Quantum City Prize is something more non-trivial. This is a challenge and the prize that is open until October 14th to bring quantum to the public space. Can you have something to engage with the public, to disseminate quantum science in the subway or somewhere in a public square, or, an impromptu performance? So something that the public doesn't expect, as opposed to a talk or a lab tour or an exhibition, which are great, and this is also what we do. But for those events, the public needs to decide to go there and register or go there at a certain day at a certain time. And that's all fine, and this is very nice, and this is most of what is being done. But could we push this a bit further? Could we engage with the public in a way and at a time they don't expect it, just by riding the public transport or going to a certain venue, etc. So this is really open to the creativity of all the creators around the world, and we will give prizes for this. And there will be prizes per continent and per city size. So to make it fair, we created 3 categories of city sizes. So cities with less than 100,000 inhabitants, cities with more than 1 million inhabitants, and in between. And so in each continent, there will be a prize or more for each of these city categories for fairness in terms of size differences. So the competition is more fair. And then the winners of the Continental Quantum City Prize will automatically compete for the World Quantum Prize, meaning to be the winner at the global scale. And the winners of the World Quantum City Prize will be announced and awarded at the closing ceremony of the International League of Quantum. So stay tuned and do apply. So to get access to the registration form and the application instructions, you should fill in this registration form by 14th of September. But our recommendation is that you do it as soon as possible, so that you have access to all the forms and requirements, which are quite simple to fulfill. We don't want this to be bureaucratic. What is important is the content the activities that you create, and then this is just a way for you to document it and submit it. If you already organize something like this year, it also counts. It's not only for future events. Any event that may have been organized that fits this criteria and that took place in 2025 since January until 14th of October, which is the deadline, can apply. So I encourage you to consider this unique opportunity. And I also want to thank all the sponsors of this particular prize that are here, including the IYQ. Finally, and to converge, I also want to mention another third and final project that we have for the International Year of Quantum, which is a bit of a crazy project. I would say quite crazy, but not impossible. Is that we want to have one quantum event in every country of the world by the end of 2025. So there are 193 countries recognized by the United Nations, and we want to have at least one event in each of them. This is, of course, very, very hard, but through collaboration, through doing hybrid events, where the people who are online in a given country, they actually have to meet physically together to attend the event online and then discuss it, etc. This counts as an event in that country. And in many countries, like, for example, we have some examples that we know well in Africa, in the case of the projects of the Portuguese Quantum Institute, this is really the best you can hope. And I think it's legitimate to count that as a quantum event, because if it wasn't for this hybrid event, those people there, they would never have met, they would never have attended the event in a collective way where they can discuss, etc. So this is what makes it feasible, although the goal is crazy. And so far we have this counter. We already have 68 countries. There's quite a few that we know will have events but are still not there. But for example, if you can help us reach out, for example, to Mongolia, to North Korea, if that makes sense for you, to other countries, we really want to use quantum science as a way to bring people together. And so if you can help us here, this will be most welcome. So let me finish with some other examples that we've been using to, I don't know how I'm doing with time, but I'll try to finish very soon, how that we're using to engage with the public is to translate the World Quantum Day into different languages. And I mean, as a colleague suggested, we could now go to ChatGPT and translate into many languages. This is not what we want. We want it for people to come to us and say, look, I would like you to translate it into my language, and here's my suggestion. And then we go to our representatives and they can check it. Some really beautiful stories emerged, some languages that many of us had never heard of. We learned about them. So this is really something that people take pride in. It's their identity, it's their culture, and they want to engage by translating. So if you know more languages or your dialects, regional languages that should be represented here, just propose it. This is just a partial screen capture of the web page, which is listed here. You can see that Korean is here. So please do submit your suggestions. And this is it. So I want to finish with some lessons learned from the World Quantum Day. What is this? I think we established very clear and at global scale, that so everywhere, that there is a strong interest in audiences about quantum. This was not a given. Many people were skeptical that, of course, not your audience, our audience today, and maybe you've experienced this similar. So I also wanted to contribute to this discussion today, which I think is great and very important. And thanks again for Hongjun and all colleagues for bringing this event together. So it's established that all around the world, there's an audience. People are curious. People are excited. They want to learn. They want to know more about quantum. Not everybody believes in this. And of course, that there are people interested and capable of creating the contents, of creating the activities, of organizing the engagement and at global scale. And this actually helped pave the way for the International Year over the last few years. The second thing is that this allowed this idea, this initiative empowered stakeholders in countries, they now call it the Global South, but a bit around the globe, that normally maybe wouldn't consider outreach, that maybe, in their countries, there's no tradition, no experience in scientific outreach. It's not considered a noble activity yet. And so this was really a way to empower many colleagues in many stakeholders, really at global scale, and especially in the Global South, where this was, less common activity. Finally, it established a global network, our World Quantum Day network, and our ambassador scheme that goes beyond the country representatives, a global network of creators who can share their ideas, their best practices, and can collaborate and can organize global initiatives like we're doing the Quantum Cities or the Quantum at School that I didn't have time to talk about, and so on. And finally, it's something that is driven by the community, owned by the community. And this is very, very important. It's not a top-down structure. It's not, a few who promote this. This is really owned. And this is something that is very important and that we want to keep. I finally want to mention the event that you have today, not only to repeat my thanks to in particular the organizers and Hong Jun and all the colleagues and the participants, as the great speeches, all three opening speeches were excellent. Thanks for that as well. But to wear my hat here, just to finish, as a member of the steering committee of the IYQ and as a organizer of this set of global events. And this is a very, very important meeting that you're having today, because thanks to the effort of the organizers, local and global, we are trying to start a dialogue, a conversation about this topic of public engagement at a global scale. So many of you are prominent stakeholders and creators and engagers in domain, in your country, in your continent. And we believe, I hope I'm wrong, but we believe that there was not that much communication across the world. And this is really a unique opportunity. And as it was said in the introduction, a historical event of trying to bring stakeholders from different places of the world with different experiences, different perspectives, different challenges, but also common challenges and common goals to reflect on how to go forward. How could we develop this field more, this domain more of public engagement in quantum? Can we set some goals for the next 2 years, for the next 5 years? Can we write a small document and establish this vision? And maybe beyond that, really establish a network of collaboration, maybe even think if you want to continue these discussions next year in the future and grow this discussion, this network, and this activity. So thank you very much once again to all, especially Hongjun and the organizers and all the participants in person and online for contributing to this historical event. And this is it. Thank you very much. I hope I kept to the time. And here's the key information and links to the World Quantum Day. Thank you very much.